Catch past episodes of Create, Build, and Manage Daily on demand. Go to bizvod.com for details.
My next guest is using knowledge gained as a hospital administrator to help other businesses recalibrate. Cheryl Mobley is the CEO and founder of Recalibrate, and she joins me in studio tonight. Cheryl, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's great
Absolutely.
to be here.
No, I appreciate your time. I'm curious because I love it when you could take something you've learned from one industry and really apply it to other industries. So what did you learn working in the medical field as a hospital president that is able to help your clients?
It's a great question. So for me, I'm not a clinical person. And so coming into healthcare, one of the things that I brought to the table is not making the same assumptions, right, that everyone else there, because they knew that everything was a certain way. And so that kind of curiosity, that willingness to ask questions is true no matter what your industry is. So when you try and look at it with outside eyes, you see things differently. You don't make the same assumptions. You question things. I call it being an annoying 2-year-old. I do that really well, right? And so you learn that. You also learn that having everybody be there and want to do the same thing in the same way for the good of someone else, in our case for our patients, our families, our physicians, is a huge driver and motivator when things get hard. Because you see why you're doing this. You see the impact, you feel it. And it's different than going, yes, we're just trying to make more money for someone else.
Right.
And so bringing all of those attitudes, as well as our team was amazing. And they understood that we expected them to figure out how to do things better all the time. And they had the ability, the authority, the responsibility to do that. And so they did amazing things that were spread to many other hospitals because of the work they did. And so freeing people up to do that, all of those things are hugely impactful no matter your industry. It doesn't matter where you do what you do. It's just bringing that kind of an attitude. So those were a few of the things.
No, I love that approach because what you said is so true. We tend to rely so much on our expertise that we're not even paying attention to the staff and what their needs are. And that's what you were able to do. You came in, you didn't rely on expertise, you relied on your leadership skills, and that's huge.
Well, and you learn when you don't do it well. My first 360 was one of the most painful things I ever got, right? Like, I didn't like that very much. But you see how much other people bring to the table. And their ability to want to offer it is what makes all the difference in the world. No different than you and I, right?
Sure.
No matter what you do all the time.
Yeah. Well, talk about, so you've got the EPIC workplace framework. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it was actually kind of interesting because our hospital, if you're familiar with healthcare, you have people that either choose to pay you or don't. And in our case, Medicare is if Medicare doesn't accept you as a safe place to give care, nobody will. And so Medicare says, well, to prove that, we're going to check how you're doing things. So you have to give us data. And then they give you results against everyone else in the country. So at the time, there were probably 5,000 hospitals that we were compared to. And on two particular metrics, you're compared on the quality of what you do, which you should be, right? And on the satisfaction of your patients, as well as the engagement of your staff. And we were consistently at 99th percentile when you measured us against everyone else. And again, amazing people, amazing team doing great things, and it showed. And so that was year over year. And so that 99th percentile performance, we call kind of the B99. We have guiding questions framework, right? I mentioned being annoying with the questions. So we have that. But it can be kind of hard to explain. And so, but the EPIC workplace, everybody gets that. It creates kind of a vision and a picture. So the way we get to that EPIC workplace is through that whole B99 thing, which really came from reverse engineering. What did we do differently than other great leaders who weren't 99th percentile?
Right.
What was different about what we did consistently that they weren't doing? And so that's how that came to be. And so that's what we do, is we help other organizations who want to get there, because not everyone does. Not everybody wants to do the work. I've had people say, that sounds like a lot of work.
Right.
And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's also a lot of work to have things not go well a lot.
Yeah, how's what you're currently been working out for you? Right?
Yeah. It's like I'd rather be working towards something really awesome than constantly putting out fires and going, this is fun, because I don't like that.
Right. No, I'm with you on that one. I want to pull up your website for those who are watching BizTV. It's recalibrate.today. Want to make sure it's not .com, .today. Recalibrate.today is where you can go. We've got that website up there right now. What do you find as you work with businesses? Is there a commonality, if you can identify, like, this is the number one reason businesses fail?
There is no one thing, but the biggest thing I'm seeing right now is that we're not aware we're always making choices. And when I choose, for example, to come here and spend time with you, all of the time I spend in prep and physically coming here is time I chose not to do something else.
Right.
And a lot of us don't think that way. And we would talk to our team all the time. All of us we're a finite resource. So if you don't recognize that, you're going to be doing a lot of squirrel. Right?
Sure.
You're going to waste a lot of time. And it's really about that, I call it being ruthless with your time. What is it that's really important? Where are we going to give our time? And so it's that kind of attitude of going, I'm always making choices.
That's the one commodity we all have the same amount of.
Exactly.
And it is limited. So you got your book here. This is exciting. Talk about face-to-face.
So I'm a sick pup, and I went on a horse safari in South Africa.
That sounds fun.
I didn't know it was a thing until I went, almost, yeah. And so you're literally on a horse really close to very large animals that could make you dinner if they so choose, or pancakes, right? And so I'm also a photographer, like this image is mine, and there's other images in the book. And the book talks in one part about the actual encounters we had, some of them, not all of them. And then the second half of each chapter is a leadership principle I pulled from that encounter. And then because the book wasn't enough work, I decided I wanted to interview leaders from around the world who really had very concrete things to say, kind of like to your question, like what's the one thing? How can I do this better? And so that's also in the book. And that's so cool. It's not quite out yet. It'll be out both in physical, it's more of a coffee table format.
Okay.
And then also in an ebook with some other videos that I was convinced would be a great idea if I gave myself more work and made videos to go with it. So,
But I'm curious, was this project somewhat therapeutic for you? Because I think getting out there, like I love being outside. That sounds awesome.
I actually never intended to do a book. It was a vacation. I wanted to come back in similar format to when I left. That was my goal, have fun and come back alive. But on the very first ride, which was an encounter with some rhinos that I go into, I was like, there are so many team dynamics here, because honestly, I wanted to exit stage left at one point, but you can't. You must stay together. You must behave in the way the leader tells you to behave. And so I was like, ooh, there's this thing and that thing with organizations and team and leaders. And then as it went on, I'm like, a couple blog posts, that'll be good. And I'm like, oh, it's a book.
Wow.
So that's
cool.
how it came to be. So I'd get back from the ride and I'd try and keep everything in my brain, and I'd come back and write down all my notes and what I thought and all that kind of good stuff, because you forget.
Sure.
Really quickly. And
I can't wait to check it out. And people can go to your website for more information about it. I'm going to give that website again. It's recalibrate.today. Cheryl, thank you so much for your time and making the choice to be here today and giving that information. Very good stuff. Stick around. You are watching Create, Build, and Manage Daily. We're back right after this.